Yes, I don't have much faith in words myself. Statistically speaking, average person tells 3 lies per 10 minutes of conversation. I grant it. It's just regular people. We haven't studied that you were planning to firebomb a black church. Couldn't ski differently.
We don't have time for this scientist to talk to the guy. We went at it for 4 hours and got nothing.
Now, the FBI, not that you want mass casualties. Right now, ATF is searching every inch of the 2 largest black churches in the state. FBI got it wrong. Well, there's a shocker. Not one of those 2 churches. Maybe you want one of the smaller churches. One of the black suburbs.
You know what you're talking about.
Don't respond. What do you say ATF starts with Southbridge? Now, skip that one. We're going to focus on law. Feel good about it. That's it, Lord. Going after a church in law. That accusation has no basis. What do you mean? You just told me.
大家下午好，我的中文还不够好，所以接下来我将用英语继续演讲。I have a question. How was my pronunciation? You're lying to me. We just saw an episode, part of an episode from a TV series, American TV series called Lie to Me. The investigator was able to figure out where the criminal was going to plant the bomb by just monitoring and listening to the heartbeat and to the facial expressions of the criminal. Another character in that episode says, the question is never as simple as if someone's lying. The question is, why? What they have done is they have read the facial expressions of the criminal and understood exactly what they needed to know. And he said at the very end of the episode, he just told them. We are not saying that our dear consumers, our dear respondents from a market research standpoint are lying. They're not Pinocchios. It's just, the truth is that they don't always know how they feel. They don't always know how to express their feelings and tell us how they truly feel when they are exposed to stimulus. Stimulus such as advertising, stimulus such as such as a package, brand expressions, those kind of brand experiences. How can they express their emotions and feelings about them? And there is always some kind of conflict, a very interesting conflict between what we say we will do and what we end up really doing. How many of us said, it's the last time I'm going to do any more shopping on Taobao? And how many of us found ourselves at midnight going through our mobile phones and making some more shopping? It's quite addictive. You cannot truly control yourself sometimes. You cannot truly control your behavior sometimes. Interestingly, the economist Daniel Kahneman was mentioned earlier. We really depend on his insight and on his findings and his practice, which talks about the unconscious response and the importance of the unconscious response in the decisions that human beings make. And we are interested in this as market researchers because we're trying to understand humans and understand consumers, understand citizens, so that we can sometimes predict and sometimes evaluate their behavior. He has really simplified the system for us and said the brain has 2 decision routes. The unconscious, which is system 1, it's the limbic system, it's in the back of the head. That's where the decisions are made in a very fast pace, it's very emotional, it's quite intuitive. It's the part that really controls you before you can think. And then there's the conscious part which is system 2. It's the rational, it's logical, it's reasoned. Think of market research. generally, traditional research concentrates 95–99% of what we do is on the rational part, and so much less on the emotional and uncontrolled part. Now let's enjoy a little story together. Imagine those very early inventors and discoverers and explorers. They wanted to fly. And they came up with different ways and trials of flying. And I'm just thinking of that man who was standing on a cliff wearing wings because he saw a bird who had wings and the bird can fly and he wanted to fly. Very rational thinking. Very reasoned thinking. He put on the wings, he jumped off the cliff. He cannot tell us how he felt, of course. There was some kind of conflict between the rational part and the emotional part. I am sure his body was saying, don't jump off. So I'll take you to another story, a story from Switzerland, above Interlaken, beautiful city in the German side of Switzerland. And you can fly. And I was there, 4,000 meters above the ground, in a plane going at 300 kilometers an hour, and there was a huge conflict in my brain. The rational part said, you just spent 2,000 yuan on this, you have to jump. And your wife is waiting down there, and if you don't jump, you're going to look like a pussy. The emotional part was, obviously, my body was shivering, I was sweating, I couldn't breathe. It's a little bit like, I feel the same right now, for some reason. And my body just didn't want to jump. I took the decision, I had to take the decision, I did jump, and I have proof. And I'm still here, so I'm still alive, it's good. But what's very interesting, this is the kind of reasoning and behavior that we are interested in as market researchers. When I landed on the ground, my wife asked me, how did it feel? That's great, amazing, wow, I'll do it again. And really uninteresting, because those are kind of predicted answers. The true answers was what was going on inside me, what was going on emotionally inside me. So why are we talking about this today? Because marketing communications is all about the two systems. We knew this since a long time. The benefit is that today we can measure it, and we're going to go in that detail in a moment. Think of packaging, think of advertising, think of the brand expression, think of the brand engagement that you have with the consumer. The consumer is not basing their decisions only on rational reasons. They're using both to make their decisions.
Okay, you jump, I jump. Why neuroscience is very important to our communication research? Let's first play a little game. There are a lot of dots on the screens. Now let's look at the center. Let's focus on the cross in the center, and let's see what will happen. Anything happened? Yes, the dots disappeared. Why? Because our brain works very efficiently. When we want to focus on something, our brain tells us that the other things are not important. Then we simply ignore them. They are there, but they are unseen to us. Now think about the beauty care category. Beauty care category advertising. When we show our consumers of this picture, of this print ad, we ask, how do you feel? The consumer will tell us that, okay, the model is so beautiful that it will make me want so much to buy your brand, to buy your product. But what happens when they go to shops, when they read the magazines in their real life? It's like this. Can our consumers really remember our brands, our products? Then how about celebrity? People love him, Gu Jiaoshou. But maybe sometimes there will be too more love on him. Okay, 3 brands, okay? Then what about this? All of the brands invite him as their celebrity, as their ambassador. But finally, maybe this celebrity could still be the focus of our consumer, but hope the information about brands won't be like the dots I showed just now. That would be unseen, that would be ignored. Another challenge is about the media mix. We all know that the cost of the TVC in China is extremely high, extremely expensive. Then how can we optimize the media mix for a 30-second copy and a 15-second copy? And how can we make the best 15-second copy cut from a 30-second copy? All of those are the challenges for the marketeers and for the researchers.
That's where neuroscience comes in, to help us really understand why are they lying, and we're very interested in that. Lying in parentheses, of course. Emotions do cause a chain reaction through the body. I spoke about my personal experience. The brain waves, skin conductance, heart rate, breathing that is shorter, motion, you feel like you want to escape sometimes, and micro-expressions in the face that describe the feeling without having to say anything. These are all too fast for words. They're too fast for a survey. So Ipsos has developed an independent group of experts who have joined us, and they have set up a center of excellence for neuroscience and emotions. The spectrum of neuroscience in the market is large. There are many suppliers, and we've decided to remain independent and free to choose from the most efficient in terms of reliability, accuracy, scalability, and consumer friendliness, and more importantly for you, our dear clients, cost effectiveness. When you're looking at the right-hand corner of the spectrum, it's quite daunting for consumers to enter an MRI machine for us to study their body to understand how they react to a simple advertisement. And it's maybe too basic to have a pedal of a survey. So we're a little bit in the middle of that spectrum, and concentrating mostly on the most cost-effective and reliable measures that we are now having in the Chinese market: facial coding and implicit reaction time. We'll explain facial coding, and we'll go through an example. The facial coding technique is amazing. Charles Darwin, again, mentioned in an earlier presentation, first observed the universality of emotions in mammals. A smirk of Bruce Willis is a smirk of a Chinese guy, Lebanese guy, Italian guy. A smirk is a smirk. Anger is anger, and you can see it on the face of whoever the person is. There are certain emotions that are quite universal around the world. And we are working with a software technology company called Real Eyes, that is our partner, where they are measuring 143 different muscles on the face. And by the way, the face has the most muscles of all our organs, which is amazing to understand and see. We will measure those facial expressions and those micro expressions and understand what kind of emotions are coming out from seeing a stimulus, whatever it is, package, advertisement. The universal micro expressions that we are measuring are happiness, surprise, sadness, disgust, being scared, and being confused. Any movement of the facial expression is engagement, and we care about that engagement when we think of those beauty care ads. Here is an example of someone watching an advertisement with their facial expression movement, and you can see the discrete different results of anger, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, and surprise. I'm just going to go back one slide so that you can see it again, how fast it is. And that's how we are measuring. We will go now on an example.
Now let me show you a real case to demonstrate how we optimize our copy using facial coding.
全新脉动纤巧系列，富含多种维生素，自有你的魅力。哇！更壮快，更自在，全新脉动纤巧系列新装上市，有2个口味哦。嗨，
Okay, this is the copy tested by Ipsos. Ipsos calculate the CEI, copy effective index, by looking into both recall and the persuasion. And this is a top-line result, which shows that this copy is very good in terms of the persuasion, green light, but the average on the recall, especially the visibility. Then the question is how we can improve this copy, specifically on the execution. First, we have some diagnostic statements like I like it very much, like the ad is interesting, and we also have the verbatims. Overall, we can find that the consumers like the copy, like the story, like the party things, but still, we don't know how specifically we can make the change to the execution. Now, facial coding helps. Let me show you how facial coding helps. Okay, the screen is too light to use the point. I can use my finger. These are all the cuts along the time. And this line is called engagement reaction, meaning any significant emotions detected by our facial coding technology from the consumer's face. Now we can see there are 2 points where the engagement is low. First is here. The 2 girls get upset, and the waiter brings the water. This is the first time, low engagement. And the second time, the girls you have the idea, and they go to another place to make the change. Now, these are the areas where we can improve, where we can tune up our engagement of the copy. That's the first point. And the second point is that overall, we can see the engagement level overall is okay. We have a norm, which is 61%, and overall the engagement is 65%. So overall it's good, it's okay. But it's kind of a flat, not that dramatic. So what does this mean? This means maybe we can make this copy shorter without damaging the engagement. So based on these 2 findings, we discussed with our client, and as mentioned before, you need ideas. So here you are. We can either remove or dial up the engagement on the low engagement points. And also we can make it shorter. Now let's see what the final copy looks like. Please.
全新外梗宣系列富含多种维生素，我自有我的魅力。更状态，更姿态。全新外梗宣系列。全新外梗宣系列富含多种维生素，我自有我的魅力。更状态，更姿态。全新外梗宣系列。
Then we made it shorter. We removed the first low engagement point, and we dial up the second point. So that's finally what we on air, what we climbed on air for this copy, which is very effective.
So I'd like to sum up. Our proposition on the market regarding facial coding is that it is a supplemental diagnostic of traditional ad research. Traditional ad research continues to be the most reliable, the most proven, and the most important way to understand how consumers rationally respond to stimulus. Here we look at the example of advertising. And facial coding helps us to understand more and deeper those rational responses by passively and non-verbally understanding their emotions. Facial coding will deliver more an accurate understanding of what is behind that rational response by studying their feelings without necessarily asking them about them. And it helps us to optimize advertising. Thank you.